I ate the healthy breakfast, so why did my brain turn off 2 hours later? That is the moment this episode is built around, not the internet debate about carbs, not another list of superfoods. A real person, usually somewhere between 40 and 60, standing in a kitchen at 10:38 in the morning, staring at the second coffee and thinking, I did the right thing, why does my body feel worse? Maybe it was oatmeal with berries. Maybe it was a smoothie with fruit and almond milk. Maybe it was sourdough, honey, dates, granola, or a breakfast bowl that looked perfect on a wellness website. The food had good press. The body had a different opinion. After 40, that difference starts to matter. The question is not only whether a food is healthy in general, the better question is whether your body can process that food cleanly today, in this amount, in this order, in the metabolic state you brought to the meal. Here is the first useful test. After your next normal meal, do not change the food. Do not perform for the test. Eat the meal you were already going to eat, then set 2 quiet timers. One for 60 minutes, one for 120 minutes. At each timer, ask 4 questions and write the answers next to the meal. Do I feel clear or foggy? Do I feel steady or sleepy? Do I feel satisfied or hungry again? Do I feel calm or am I suddenly searching for something sweet? This is not a diagnosis, it is a signal check. If the same meal repeatedly gives you a 2-hour crash, the meal is no longer just breakfast. It has become a metabolic stress test disguised as a healthy choice. That is where many intelligent people get trapped. They improve food quality, but they never check food response. They go from cereal to oatmeal, from soda to smoothies, from dessert to dates, from white bread to sourdough, from candy to fruit bowls. Some of those changes are genuinely better, but better is not the same as stable. The betrayal is subtle. You did not eat junk. You did not ignore your health. You made the responsible choice, and your body still answered with brain fog, hunger, irritability, or a strange emotional drop that feels completely out of proportion to the meal. When I see that pattern, I do not start by asking whether the person has enough discipline. I start by asking what happened to the curve. How fast did glucose appear in the blood? How much insulin did the body need to handle it? Were the muscles ready to receive it? Was the nervous system already stressed before the first bite? In 2015, David Zevi, Eran Siegel, Eran Elinov, and colleagues published a large study in Cell that changed the way many researchers think about this problem. They followed 800 people with continuous glucose monitoring and measured responses to 46,898 meals. The result was not a simple good food, bad food list. The result was variability. Different people had very different glucose responses to the same foods. The meal could be identical, while the body and the curve were not. That is why one person can eat oatmeal and feel steady until lunch, while another person eats the same oatmeal and feels like somebody dimmed the lights in their brain by 10:30. Stay with me here because this is the part most food advice skips. A meal is not a fixed event. A meal is an interaction between the food and the system receiving it. When carbohydrate enters the bloodstream quickly, glucose rises. Insulin rises to help move that glucose into cells. If your muscles are active and ready, if you slept well, if stress chemistry is not already high, that curve may be smooth enough that you barely notice it. If your muscles are inactive, sleep was poor, stress is high, or baseline insulin sensitivity is lower than it used to be, the same meal can produce a sharper rise and a harder fall. You do not experience that fall as a graph. You experience it as your life. The fog, the second coffee, the sudden hunger, the mood shift, and the feeling that your body is asking for more fuel even though you just fed it. So the first action is not to fear carbohydrates. That is too crude and it makes people worse at listening. The first action is to stop reading food only by reputation. Read it by response. Here is the second payoff, and it comes before removing anything. First, change the sequence. If a meal contains starch, fruit, or a sweet ingredient, do not begin with the fastest carbohydrate. Start with protein, fiber, or vegetables first. Then eat the carbohydrate later in the meal. This is not magic, it is traffic control. Fiber and protein can slow the speed at which a meal leaves the stomach and appears as glucose in the bloodstream. Studies on food order, especially in people with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, have found lower post-meal glucose and insulin excursions when vegetables and protein are eaten before concentrated carbohydrates instead of after them. The practical point is simple. Same plate, different order, different signal. If your oatmeal crashes you, do not ask only whether oatmeal is good. Ask whether you ate a large sweet grain bowl alone or a slower mixed meal with protein, fiber, fat, and a smaller glucose load. If your smoothie crashes you, do not ask only whether smoothies are bad. Ask whether you made a meal or whether you made fruit juice with a wellness label and drank it in 4 minutes. That question is not judgmental, it is a more precise question. Now comes the second complication. If this were only about food, the answer would be easy. Make a good food list. Make a bad food list. Then you would never have to think again. But your body is not a spreadsheet. The same healthy food can behave differently depending on the state of the person eating it. A smoothie after a poor night of sleep is not the same biological event as the same smoothie after a strength workout and a calm morning. Oatmeal after 3 days of sitting is not the same as oatmeal after a brisk walk, a protein-rich dinner, and a night of real recovery. This is the part that took me the longest to respect. The food is only half the curve. The other half is you. Your muscle mass, your recent movement, your sleep debt, your stress load, your liver, your gut, and the sensitivity of the system receiving the meal. That means a crash after a healthy meal does not automatically mean the food is bad. Sometimes it means the receiving system is overloaded. This distinction matters because it changes the next move. A food problem means the meal repeatedly creates a poor response even when sleep, stress, movement, and portion are reasonable. A state problem means the same food becomes noisy only when your body is already under load. If it is a food problem, you adjust the meal. If it is a state problem, you adjust the state. That is the mid-video reset. Stop asking, what food is allowed? Ask, what condition makes this food work or fail in my body? Here is the action map. 3 levers: input speed, muscle sync, repeatability. Input speed is how fast glucose appears in your bloodstream. You influence it with form, order, and dose. Whole fruit is usually not the same as juice. A cooked grain with protein and fiber is not the same as a large sweet bowl eaten alone. A smaller portion of starch inside a mixed meal is not the same as that starch arriving first, naked and fast. The experiment is clean. Choose one meal that often makes you foggy. Test it 3 times. First, eat it exactly as usual and record your 60-minute and 2-hour response. Second, keep the food mostly the same, but change the order. Protein or fiber first, carbohydrate later. Third, keep the order, but reduce the fastest carbohydrate slightly and add more protein, fiber, or texture. You are not trying to win a moral contest. You are trying to slow the delivery enough that your body can handle the message. The second lever is muscle sync. This may be the most underappreciated part of the entire story. Your muscles are not just for appearance or strength. They are glucose storage and disposal tissue. When muscle contracts, it can help move glucose out of the bloodstream. That means movement after eating is not a calorie-burning punishment. It is a signal routing tool. A 2023 systematic review and meta-analysis in sports medicine found that exercise after meals, including walking, reduced post-meal glucose excursions compared with inactivity, and timing close to the meal appeared to matter. Translation: the curve is happening now. If lunch makes you foggy, the useful move may not be a heroic workout 6 hours later. It may be 10 to 20 minutes of easy walking after the meal, not frantic and not sweaty, just enough muscle contraction to give glucose somewhere to go. This is why a person can eat the same meal on 2 different days and feel completely different. On one day, the muscles are open for business. On another day, the food arrives at a warehouse with the doors half closed. The third lever is repeatability. One reaction is a clue. 3 similar reactions are a pattern. Poor sleep can lie. Stress can lie about a food response. A late dinner can lie. A deadline can lie. A hard workout can change the next morning. So never judge a food from one day. Instead, look for repetition. If the same meal gives you brain fog 3 times under similar conditions, that is useful. If the same meal is fine after a walk but terrible after sitting, that is useful. If the same meal improves when you eat protein first, that is useful. You are not collecting data to become obsessive. You are collecting feedback so you can stop making blind decisions. Those moments are not random annoyances. They are data points. After 40, that data becomes more personal because the system often gives feedback sooner. That does not mean you are broken. It means the body is talking louder. So here is the 1-week version I would actually use. Choose 2 meals you eat often, not the perfect meals. Choose the real meals. For each meal, write 3 lines. What did I eat first? How did I feel at 60 minutes? And how did I feel at 2 hours? If one meal repeatedly creates fog, sleepiness, hunger, or cravings, run the sequence experiment. Protein or fiber first. Put carbohydrate later in the meal. Then add a 10-minute walk. Then repeat the same meal on a day after better sleep and compare the response. If the response improves, you learned something powerful. The food was not necessarily the enemy. The delivery system, the muscle sync, or the state of your body was the issue. If the response does not improve, you learn something else. That meal may not currently fit your body well in that form, dose, or timing. Either way, you are no longer guessing. This is the identity shift. You stop asking the internet to decide whether a food is healthy in the abstract. You start asking your own body a better question. Can I handle this food well, in this amount, in this order, in the life I am actually living? That question is not restrictive. It is a liberating kind of precision. It removes a quiet shame many people carry, because maybe you were not weak. Maybe you were reacting to a curve you never saw. Maybe the healthy food was not lying. Maybe it was revealing the speed of the meal, the readiness of your muscles, the cost of poor sleep, and the stress load you carried into breakfast. The food was never the whole story. The food was the test. The response was the message. And once you know how to read the message, your body stops feeling like a mystery and starts becoming a system you can work with.